Look at the tail of a fish and you'll have a pretty good idea of that animal's strategy for survival. Species with broad, flat tails such as the striped bass, grouper, and the snook can move around various forms of structure as they look for a meal or wait for one to swim by. These large, soft, pliant tails provide great efficiency for quick, powerful starts, producing the maximum amount of thrust at a relatively slow rate of tail beat. Fish with flat tails move about 1/2 a body length for every beat. A forked tail tells you that a fish is built for top-end speed and probably spends most of its time swimming in search of its prey. The billfish and tuna species boast fully forked tails with hard leading edges much like a swim fin and sharp points at their tips. There's a trade-off. Super fast fish can't change direction quickly. That's why they will miss a bait or lure that does not track in a straight line or zigs when the fish expected it to zag. Bonefish and tarpon fall in another category. They have a lesser fork with softer membranes that combine fairly fast speed with the ability to maneuver. Long, thin fish, such as the barracuda, uses its broad tail and snake-like body movements to launch a lightning-quick attack from ambush. They too attack in a straight line and lack the ability to change direction. Tuna have relatively small tails for their size. Instead of relying on the contraction of muscle masses for propulsion, they make up for it with rapid tail beats. A single tail beat drives the fish forward about 1 body length, and the typical tuna can move its tail 10 to 20 times every second. What about the other fins? They're there primarily for balance. Dorsal and anal fins act as keels to keep a fish from tipping over. The pectoral fins on the side of the gills can be used like bow planes on a submarine to rise or dive in the water column. Along with the pelvic fins underneath the body, they can also be used for brakes to stop forward progress or to help the fish turn. The shape of a fish tells you the type of habitat it prefers and how it will react when it's hooked. Fish that hold near some type of bottom structure are going to try to get back to that safe haven. These species have broad tails, lots of maneuverability, and are fairly chunky. The striped bass and the redfish show similarities in their performance. Bigger ones may run a distance, but they'll use their wide tails to slug it out and move through the water column. They may thrash on the surface, but neither is a jumper. Anything with a forked tail or semi-forked tail is going to use its speed in a dash for freedom. Bonefish typically follow this pattern, and so do tarpon and billfish. The latter two will jump in the air, yet the tuna with its forked tail will not. Nothing is more spectacular than the sight of a big fish leaping clear of the water in bright sunlight.